savagely beaten in her own home. She died over the weekend, and now her father is speaking out for the first time since her murder. We're going to hear from him in a moment, but first, here's NBC's Don Teague.
A time for mourning and remembering in Little Rock, Arkansas. Friends, relatives, and people who never met Ann Presley in person gathered Monday night to remember the news anchor whose life was cut tragically short.
Such a young person and a wonderful person. It's a tragedy that things like this happen in our community.
9 days after the brutal attack that took Presley's life, investigators still have no suspect and no motive beyond a random robbery. Sources close to the investigation say DNA and other evidence removed from the 26-year-old's home has yielded few clues. And pictures taken by security cameras at a gas station where someone used Presley's credit card were too blurry to identify a suspect.
At this point in the investigation, any information about what we may speculate, what we may believe, or any leads that we're pursuing at this point, we'd rather not discuss.
God bless you.
A public memorial service for Presley is set for Thursday morning. For now, those who knew and loved her are remembering the good times.
And I just remember her being so happy and so bubbly.
Turning to each other and faith for strength.
To everything there is a season.
Yes, sir.
A time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die.
For today, Don Teague, NBC News, Dallas.
Guy Kennedy is Ann Presley's father. Mr. Kennedy, good morning, and let me express my sincere condolences to you and your family this morning.
Thank you, Matt.
You know, we've spoken to a lot of people over the last week or so who knew Ann, who worked with her, and boy, the reports are all the same, Mr. Kennedy, that she was a young lady who could light up a room, that she made other people feel special. Just tell me a little bit more about her, would you?
Sure. And your characterization is exactly right. She was someone who just had a spark about her, a vibrancy. And what you saw was some people call it the real deal. It didn't matter whether you were a person on the street or the president. You got the same attention, the same care, the same concern from her. And she was just an incredible personality and an incredible person. And that shone through in her everyday life, both personally and professionally.
You know, I remember when I was starting out in local news how proud my parents were every time they got a chance to watch me. You must have just beamed with pride when you watched her go from being a reporter to an anchor woman, and then even as she took on this role in this movie that's out now, W. What were your thoughts about how she was progressing?
Oh, we were thrilled, as you can imagine. As you said, from an intern, she worked at KATV for 4 years as an intern every summer, every Thanksgiving, every Christmas. In fact, when she would come home from college, she would always stop at KATV before she got home, just to check in and see what she could do to help or work a little bit during every spring break or every summer. So she was engaged in her profession. She had a passion for the profession, and we're extremely proud of her.
I guess that's a good legacy to leave behind for others who come after her at that station and other stations is the kind of drive and the hard work that it takes to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why we've asked in lieu of flowers that people would donate to the Ann Presley Scholarship Foundation, because in her name we're going to carry forth that legacy and put together a foundation that will help to support others who have that same drive and ambition as they begin their career in college.
Just real quickly, Mr. Kennedy, I know you and she were very close. She was close to her mom, too. Did she ever talk about being afraid, any fears for her own safety?
Never. And that's one of the things that has obviously concerned everyone here, is that there was never an indication of a stalker, of anyone who had targeted her for any reason at all. And the fact that this was such a heinous and brutal crime has certainly captured the attention of everyone here, and there's a palpable fear among young women in the Little Rock area because this character is still out on the street. So it's important that we find him and bring him to justice.
And we hope the police can accomplish that pretty quickly. But Mr. Kennedy, let me just end by saying again, our condolences to you and your family. She seemed like an amazing young lady, and I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me this morning.
It was my pleasure, Matt. Thank you.